Hey everyone, Gavron here. A few days ago my Forces review blew up, and it led me to realize how many views you can get through controversy. So what better way to capitalize off that success than to make a tier list of all the mainline Sonic games. Yep, finding something good about Forces was not the furthest I'd go for views. Now let's just see how controversial this one gets. As always, everything listed here is in no way objective, just my opinion. Without further ado, let's get started. So starting us off in last place, we have the one, the only, Sonic 06. After Sonic's very rough transition into 3D, with the games that people still think to this day are the best in the series, he fell down even further on the stairs of mediocrity to make a straight up bad game. Sonic 06 is one of the worst games I've ever played. I may be beating it into the ground at this point, but there are people who actively consider this game really good, and better than Colors, Forces, and Generations. Sonic 06 had a terrible art direction that haunts you every time you go into a pre-rendered cutscene, and to look at how dead and lifeless Tails looks on the inside and out. It had a mediocre to bad level designs that revolved around beating up enemies, moving on to another area, beating up more enemies to unlock the path to the next area. It's slow-paced, and paired with the bad physics and glitches, make this unbearably slow and painful, and the save system is bad as well, meaning that you could constantly have to replay the endless boring levels. On top of that, it's not colorful and vibrant like a Sonic game should be, the level themes are washed out and bland. I hate this game. I'll always hate this game, and if you think I'm beating a dead horse too much into the ground, yeah, I agree. So let's move on to games that I think are better than 06, but still not good in the D tier. Sonic Heroes. I didn't like it that much. I played it on Dolphin Emulator with my Pro Controller, and there were plenty of glitches and technical problems. I kept clipping through the floor, and the switching mechanics, while they worked, and were used in some decently creative ways for alternate paths, and other challenges that were kinda clunky to use, which sums up to this entire game. Although it's probably because I'm not on a GameCube controller, either way, this game's levels still feel way too long and drawn out. The gimmicks they had, while fine, are in a lot of ways clunky, again. This game tried to be a step in a new direction from SA1 and SA2, but fell flat in a lot of areas. The plot is fine, the areas are fine enough, but that's not enough to make me truly enjoy this game. Moving into the C tier, we have the game where they gave the grouchy hedgehog a gun. This game's appeal comes almost entirely from laughing at how ridiculous the story is, and then being painstakingly disappointed where you have to play through all the 10 hidden endings to get the true ending. The gunplay is handled okay, but the animations, while he's carrying the guns, are very clunky, and the story is again laughably bad. The gameplay copied over from SA2, but it's made worse by the physics, and controls being weirdly more loose, and just not feeling as ironed out. And it's just not that fun to play, honestly. I'd recommend Blink Shadow the Hedgehog only if you want to have a good laugh, but not for much else. Sonic CD, the next game on the list, was a difficult one. I tried to like it, I really did. There's some elements in here that come really close to the heights of the other classic games, and some that even surpass them, like special stages, but the level design is simply too wacky. There's no other word for it. The game doesn't really let you build speed when you need to go fast, to go to the past or present, as in the game's main gimmick. And the areas where it does let you use the game's main gimmick are few and far between. The visuals, soundtrack, and controls are ironed out from Sonic 1, and it still holds up reasonably well in those aspects today. And again, the special stages are quite neat, the storytelling and cutscenes, especially the intro animation and the outro animation, are fantastic, and the characters are also pretty good, Amy Rose and Metal Sonic. The level design in a lot of areas is confusing, it doesn't tell you where you need to go, and the wacky gimmicks don't make it any easier. How many times can I say wacky before people get annoyed? Speaking of wacky, we're moving into the B tier, where the games are actually decent now. If you look very closely, a very specific game with classic Sonic has been missing from the list so far. One that people unanimously agree upon that it's not great, because it's short, has a lacking story, and not great level design. That's right, it's Sonic the Hedgehog 1. The first game in the series remarkably holds up well, for the first 12 minutes as you play through Green Hill Zone. The visuals are bright, colorful, and achieve the dreams 06 never could. The backgrounds are great as well. For the first game, it's as good as it gets, again, only in Green Hill Zone. The next few levels are long slogs of platforming and waiting for obstacles, till Starlight Zone, and then the pathetically evil final boss that puts you into Labyrinth Zone on the final act. Yeah, and that's about it for Sonic 1, moving on. Next replacements are all 3D games with a question mark at the end, as we have Sonic Lost World up next. Lost World is remarkably polished, visually stunning, and a really pretty game with polished controls, and an okay parkour system. a decent difficulty curve as you learn its new moves, and some okay level design, when it wants to. It also features some of the worst gimmicks in the series, an underbaked plot, with a missed opportunity to give roboticized Tails a boss fight, a run button, and Mario Galaxy inspirations. Can you tell this game is divisive? Well, I enjoyed it, so into the B tier it goes. But seriously, this is a second game to not give roboticized Tails a boss fight. Like, what is it with those guys? Do they just not like Tails? Sonic forced me to put this next game here. Jokes aside, I can have fun with Sonic Forces, as y'all heard from that review. I'm not going to explain myself too much, because I want to get on to the good stuff, but other than that, classic Sonic, it controls alright, level design's also okay, the standout being Capital City, Mortar Canyon. It has good visuals, good world building in the levels, and a mediocre to okay story. I don't hate this game, I think it's definitely overhated, just because it disappointed the massive expectations. Last but not least for the B tier, easily the most controversial placement on this list, aside from Sonic Forces, was Sonic Unleashed. I'm really torn on this. Sonic Unleashed does some things amazingly well, better than any other game in the series, but in other areas it fails quite hard. Sonic Unleashed has the second best boost level design and controls, with first being Sonic Generations. It has the best world building, the best atmosphere of probably any Sonic game, the best visuals, until Frontiers comes out obviously, an amazing OST, and an excellent story. But the negatives sort of drag this one down a lot. 3/4 of the game is the Werehog, and his stages can last 10 to 40 minutes. His metal collecting is painful in the boost stages, and it ruins the pacing of the game hard when you have to explore the level instead of going fast like the game's directing you to do. The game is so good at letting you go fast, that when it stops you from going fast, it makes it sting so much more when it takes away the speed and replaces it with a mediocre hack and slash. Or a collectathon. I don't hate the concept of the Werehog, I think his design is quite neat. I just hate the gameplay. The Werehog is definitely worse than every gameplay style in Forces, maybe classic Sonic, but modern Sonic is better than every gameplay style in Forces, so the world building, atmosphere, and story carried this one just above Sonic Forces. Moving into the A tier, here we have the great games, I consider just slightly short of S tier, or we have the other games of their era that were just slightly edging them out, for example, SA1. This is getting really subjective, but I like SA2 a bit more. SA1 does everything really well. The hub worlds are fun, levels are creative, really well crafted, with a lot of creativity and exploration. The story, while certainly wacky, is pretty coherent. I don't mind most of the characters. I think they could have been a little bit more creative with the Tails gameplay style, but either way, it's a well-crafted game with great setting, music, Easter eggs, and for franchise's first mainline 3D Sonic game, it's pretty good. But it could use some ironing out with the wonky collision issues and glitches you run into, although it's nowhere near as bad as Heroes or 06. The next classic Sonic game on the list, in A tier, Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I have a video explaining why I like Sonic 2 the best out of the classics, so I'll briefly restate. I think Sonic 2 has much higher highs in terms of level themes and design, but Sonic 3 is more consistently really good. Sonic 2 is amazing in the first half with some of the best levels in the franchise, and Sonic 3 Knuckles however had so many quality of life improvements like graphics and elemental shields. The OST saw a slight upgrade, but both games are amazing in that department, and it's honestly getting pretty subjective at that point. Level design saw way more ways you could build speed, and no really awful levels were present. All levels allowed for a sense of speed and let you explore, and there was a lot of excellent animation. I still prefer Sonic 2, but Sonic 3 Knuckles deserves all the praise it gets. So, finally, the great games. The S tier, the top of the line. Fantastic games that I'd recommend anyone to play. Starting us off, Sonic 2. And for the same reasons I talked about in the last point, Sonic 2 is just consistently amazing in the first half with Emerald Hill, Chemical Plant, Hilltop, Casino Night, all excellently designed, fantastic levels that allow for excellent speed, progression, good platforming, and some of the better level gimmicks in the series. The Spin Dash is fun to use and improved upon everything from Sonic 1. Metropolis Zone is kinda dumb though. Next, Sonic Colors. Yeah, fight me, Sonic Colors is a good game that deserves its ranking. I don't care if you think it's 2D, I don't care what you think of the story, this game is well crafted and fun to play. Sonic Colors never killed me for using the homing attack, I never clipped through the floor, I just had fun playing Colors. The Wisps are optional for the most part, but they were really fun to use. So what if they've been brought back in every game since? I don't care, I'm having fun using them in Colors. The story may have been drastically dumbed down and a step back from Unleashed, but it couldn't matter less to me because I don't play Sonic games for the story. I play them to have fun and go fast, with creative gimmicks, and Sonic Colors did this perfectly. Sonic Mania is up next, and it's a fantastic game, and when the only criticism for the game is that it needed more original zones, then you know you've made a pretty darn good game. It did an excellent job of recreating the classic formula, combining the gameplay style of all the classics, and their levels and their gimmicks, and their creativity to create a masterpiece that I enjoyed from beginning to end, unlike some of the classic games. The boss fights were original and creative, at least in the original stages, and also the Act 1 boss fight. The OST was fantastic, the visuals were amazing. Sonic Mania is a perfect ode to the classics that did everything right, and is my favorite of the 2D games, although I don't really consider it a part of the classic trilogy, well, quadrilogy, can't CD. And here they are, the top 2, the games that I love from beginning to end. They're unordered because I really can't pick between the two. They're both incredible games that'll force you to play, even if you never meet me. Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Generations. These games are outstanding. Sonic Generations brought back classic Sonic for the first time, and it was awesome. He felt great to control, and it was cool seeing the 3D levels turn 2D and vice versa. They made some really creative design choices with those. And it was fun all the way through, with great visuals, a stunning OST, and amazing remixes that might just be the best in the series. The controls on both characters are top-notch. Modern Sonic feels perfectly balanced from his previous appearances, with the best control he'd seen up until that point in a boost game. The drift was perfect, quick step mapped to LNR, the homing attack was on the right button. The game still holds up to this day, and it's just a joy to play. I don't care if you think the story wasn't good or if you think Roger makes a bad Sonic, this game is just fun. SC2, on the other hand, is also just a really fun game to play. I slightly prefer this more linear take compared to SA1, because it allows for more speed, while still having room for exploration. The level design and controls are ironed out from SA1, and the gameplay styles moving down to 3, allowing them to make them more polished. Rouge and Shadow are excellent character additions, and they make for compelling villains, and the story is probably the best story to date. Eggman is a believable villain, and honestly one of his best appearances in the franchise in general. All the characters have growth and development, and in some of the versions, Big the Cat is out to find you, hidden in the levels. So, perfect game overall. So, that's it. That was my tier list. Controversial or not, I enjoyed making it. I hope y'all enjoyed watching me. I still stand by that most Sonic games are good, and I liked replaying them a lot for this video. So, thanks for watching, Davron, signing off.